You're listening to Big World Network.
The Guardian of Gildain, Book 1, The Snow Dragon, Episode 1, written and read by M.L. Miller. Glancing over his shoulder to make sure he was unseen, Clay Lyons hurried out of his white clapboard house past his dad's old copper Outlander. The deception had become second nature. The breeze from the bay flooded him with the salty scent of fish. Checking for traffic out of habit more than need, he crossed the quiet street to the 2.5-story brick home 2 doors down. Raising the back of his knuckles to the wood-paneled door, he gave the secret knock, then opened the door, not waiting for Shanta to answer. He trotted to the first room on the second floor, then tapped twice and waited for a response. "Come on in, Clay." Frowning at the quaver in his mentor's thin voice, he pushed the door. It opened with a creak that grated on his teeth. He would have to oil the hinges. He hated squeaky doors. Small overlapping carpets and throw rugs spanned the floor, creating a montage of colors and patterns. Stepping carefully over them, he went to Shanta's bedside, studying the woman who felt like a grandmother to him. "Any better today?" Shanta's silver curls seemed to have pulled the color from her gaunt face. She wheezed, coughed, then smiled at him. "Oh, as good as can be expected." The words escaped between coughs. Clay sat on the bed and pushed a loose strand of Shanta's hair behind her ear. If he had time, he would ask her if she wanted him to comb it out and fix her bun. "You trying to kid me? You don't sound too good." "Show me what you learned." She waved her hand, and an ornate writing box, inlaid with black and gold designs, appeared on the bureau. Clay stepped over to it, studied the device for a moment, touching it gently with his senses. Assured that it was safe, he tried to open it. Finding the box locked, he stroked it gently across the smooth surface, allowing his mind to be one with it. His fingers began to glow, and warmth spread through him. As he passed his hand over the lock, his mind studied its workings, and he manifested a key to fit. He turned it and opened the lid. Carefully examining the layers and internal spaces, he found a pin-prick trap and disabled it. Beside one of the inkwell niches, he noticed a small tab. When he pressed it, a panel snapped open to reveal a secret compartment. Inside, he found a piece of parchment rolled and tied with a ribbon. Checking one more time, he felt the warmth fade from him. That let him know that he had discovered all the secrets the box held. He picked up the scroll with a slightly weak and trembling hand and took it back to Shanta. She waved at him to sit. He chose the chair by the window and took a deep breath to replenish some of the energy he had expended. Shanta's ice-blue eyes gazed into his, and she smiled at him. Not for the first time, he felt he knew those eyes in a way he did not yet understand. "Good, it is as I thought. Read the scroll." Clay untied the paper. "You are ready for the box." The letters disappeared as soon as he read them. He looked back at his mentor. "The slant box?" Shanta lifted a weak hand and pointed to her closet. "Top shelf, right side, get it." Clay's eyebrows flicked together for an instant, but he crossed to the closet without question. Pulling the light chain to illuminate the small room, he searched the shelves, locating a shoe-sized box. "The blue one?" Hearing no response, he frowned over his shoulder at Shanta, who nodded. He dragged the box from beneath some pillows, readjusting them so nothing tumbled to the floor, then returned to the bedside. He handed the box to Shanta, who simply motioned for him to set it beside her. "You can have the writing box, too, if you like." Shanta patted the shoebox. "But this is the one I meant. Open it." He lifted the lid. Inside, he found a pair of silver-mirrored sunglasses with silver frames that rested regally on a well-worn book. "Shades?" Shanta chuckled, then lapsed into coughing. "Of a sort. Check them out." Clay studied the glasses. They were stylish in a way that looked expensive, yet like nothing he had ever seen. They began to glow, first softly, then brighter the longer he looked at them. "They're magical?" Even as he asked, he put the glasses on. Immediately, his view of everything changed. Certainly the lenses softened the light around him, but more than that, everything looked muted, grayed, and almost translucent. It was as if there should be something more to see hiding beneath the visible world. "Cool. What are they for? And what is my answer to questions like that?" He heaved a sigh as he removed the lenses. "I have to find out for myself." When Shanta simply nodded her head, Clay returned them to the box and lifted the book. "And this? That's my personal gift to you. It's my diary. It also has secrets that you will discover when you are ready for them." She reached out, putting her hand over his. "Clay." He looked up from the diary to Shanta. Her intense gaze stopped anything he had been about to say. "We've been working together for a long time." Clay nodded. 6 years since I was 8. I've taught you all I can in the time we've had, and you've been a good student." She paused to cough up phlegm into a tissue. "I'm counting on you to hold true to your principles and not use your gifts, well, recklessly." "I would never." Clay thought of some of the things he had done at school, and a twinge of guilt passed through him. He kept his face blank. Shanta held up a hand. "Shh! I know you believe that now, but none of us know how we will react under temptation. Up until now, your training has all been practice. As we go forward, you will learn why I have been teaching you. You will have to trust your true path no matter where it leads you. You have a good heart. Use it as your compass. When you reach the crossroads that will change your life, you will be able to find your way." Clay squinted his ice-blue eyes that were so like Shanta's, wondering why the mystery. She was usually straightforward with him. Before he could ask her what she meant, a beep beep sounded. He whipped his phone from his pocket and swiped the face. "My alarm. I have to catch the bus, but I'll be back after the game tonight to check on you. I expect you to explain what you just said." He winked at her. "Is there anything I can get you before I leave?" She shook her head slightly. "No, you'll miss your bus." Clay squeezed her hand and picked up the shoebox. He put on the glasses but hesitated with the book. "Can I pick this up later?" "Sure. Now, get going." He put the shoebox beside the writing box, then hurried down the stairs and out the door. The muted, translucent colors created by the glasses startled him as he ran to the corner. The earth seemed to tremble beneath his feet. As the bus pulled up, he would have sworn he could see through it. He hopped up the steps to the smell of old faux leather, rubber, and sock sweat. Hurrying down the aisle, he headed toward his best friend Noah near the back. Noah was broad to Clay's lanky frame, and dark where Clay was fair. He stood an inch or two taller than Clay's 5'11", and like Clay, he also hoped to make the varsity basketball team. As far as Clay could tell, Noah had few friends. Even on the basketball team, Clay seemed to be his only companion. They bumped knuckles, then Clay settled down to stare out the window and try to figure out the magical purpose of the glasses. Sometimes it seemed as if shadows drifted in and out of focus in the strange liquid-like vista they revealed. By the time their bus reached Kelly Thompson's stop, only 3 seats remained empty. Kelly was a loner. Though she certainly had the looks that made girls popular, she lacked the personality. Whether she chose to ignore school cliques or they her, Clay did not know. His interest, so he told himself, went only so far as to guess where she would sit each day, and he was never wrong. "Okay, psychic." Noah shouldered Clay, smiling toward the front of the bus. "Which one today?" Clay studied which classmates had empty seats next to them. The head cheerleader had one, which meant the open spot next to her was out. Even though Kelly was a cheerleader, the school grapevine said she did not get along with her captain. Another place was beside some girl Clay did not know. That was a possibility. Then there was a football jock who was liked pretty much by all the girls. Kelly generally did not sit by boys. The bus squealed to a halt, and the door opened. Kelly's flaming red hair rose above the stairwell, her appearance unaffected by the muting effect of Clay's glasses. He had not yet decided where she would sit. Her green eyes scanned the available openings. She seemed to be glowing. "Well?" Noah asked. Clay glanced at Noah, who looked muted and gray, then back at Kelly, who stood out in vivid color. "She'll sit up there." He pointed toward the lone girl. In truth, he had no idea. The guessing process had simply been blown from his mind when the glasses failed to subdue Kelly's appearance with everything else. Kelly's eyes turned toward Clay, then widened. She smiled and tapped her oversized black-rimmed glasses. Then she pointed at him and gave him a thumbs up. She looked like she was trying to hold back a chuckle as she sat beside the football jock. "Paul? She never sat with a boy. What was up with that?" Noah's shoulder bumped Clay. "Ha! You missed, buddy. That's a first." "Yeah, no kidding." As Kelly initiated a conversation with Paul, she began to glow brighter. Not a lot, but still it was there. Clay's eyes widened and his mouth fell open. He knew of only one explanation for that: magic. He had seen it often enough working with Shanta. But Kelly? He pulled off the shades and she looked perfectly normal. Still, he could not help but stare. As if she could feel him watching, she turned, giving him another of those half-smiles. Heat rose into his cheeks. Clay slipped the sunglasses into his coat pocket, pulled out his phone, and started playing a strategy war game. A couple minutes later, the girl in front of him tapped him on the shoulder and passed him a note. It had a telephone number written on it with the words, "Text me." The signature read, "Kelly." He looked up in time to see Kelly flush and look away. He shoved the note into his jeans pocket. Only then did he notice Noah smirking at him. "What?" Noah chuckled. "What do you mean, what? Man, you have the impervious Kelly making eyes at you, and all you can do is put a note into your pocket? What's the matter with you?" "Hey, cool it." Clay's chest tightened with anxiety. "I don't need you bugging me about girls. You know how I feel about them." Noah slapped Clay on the shoulder. "Sure." Clay leaned back with a sigh. After a while, he forgot everything except that Kelly's phone number was on a note in his pocket.
by Kevin MacLeod.
You're listening to Big World Network.